Before we dive into this report, please hit that like button to help support the channel. And I want you to go down to the comments section right now and drop your name and which city you are tuning in from, so we can see exactly where this incredible Houston Texans fan base is representing today. It is always fascinating to see how far the Texans faithful stretch across the mat, so let me know where you are watching from. I have received word from the league office regarding a situation that developed following the Texans' recent victory over the Arizona Cardinals. While the mood in Houston has been overwhelmingly positive as DeMeco Ryans gets this season back on track, there is one unfortunate piece of business that had to be handled regarding the defensive interior. My sources indicate that starting defensive tackle Tommy Togiai has officially received a notice of discipline from the NFL offices in New York. According to the data I have reviewed from the NFL's Game Day Accountability Portal, Togiai has been hit with a fine totaling $9,625. This financial penalty stems from an incident in the first quarter of the Week 16 matchup against Arizona, specifically flagged as unnecessary roughness involving a face mask on running back Michael Carter. When you look at the replay, it was one of those plays that happens in the trenches, fast, physical, and unfortunate. But the league office is cracking down on anything involving the helmet or face mask area this year. Now, let's contextualize this fine, because the numbers here tell an interesting story about how the league views these infractions. Typically, according to the NFL's collective bargaining agreement and their accountability fines and appeals hub, a first offense for a face mask or unnecessary roughness usually draws a fine of $11,593. If it is a second offense, that number jumps significantly to $17,389. The fact that Togiai was fined $9,625 tells me that the league used its discretion here. They opted for a figure that is just over half of the maximum allowable fine and actually sits below the standard minimum for a first offense. This suggests that while the league felt compelled to penalize the infraction to maintain safety standards, they likely viewed it as incidental rather than malicious. It is worth noting that Togiai is now the 7th Texans player to receive a fine this season, contributing to the 8th total fine levied against the team, per Spot Track. It is a cost of doing business when you play with the aggression that this coaching staff demands, but it is certainly a hit to the wallet for the defensive tackle. Despite the fine, the narrative around Tommy Togiai inside the building remains incredibly positive. This is a player who was drafted in the 4th round, pick 132 overall, by the Cleveland Browns back in 2021. He has bounced around the league, spending time with the Atlanta Falcons and the Jacksonville Jaguars, trying to find a permanent home. I've been told that his emergence this season is one of the staff's favorite storylines. He has been forced into a role that the Texans did not originally plan for him to fill. Due to lingering injuries to Tim Settle Jr. and the absence of Mario Edwards Jr., Togiai has had to step up as a starter in 3 of his 12 games played. The production has been undeniable. He has recorded 44 total stops, 3 pass deflections, and 1.5 sacks. These are not just roster filler numbers, these are career highs across the board. He is playing the best football of his life at the exact moment Houston needed him most. The respect he commands in that locker room was highlighted recently by none other than Will Anderson Jr. When you have a Defensive Rookie of the Year caliber player praising you, people listen. Anderson was quoted recently calling Togiai the team's secret weapon. Anderson described Togiai as bringing a stone wall to the middle of the defense, ensuring that nothing gets past him. From a scouting perspective, this is exactly what allows edge rushers like Anderson to feast. When you have an interior lineman who can eat up blocks and prevent the quarterback from stepping up into the pocket, or stop running backs from finding lanes between the tackles, it simplifies the game for everyone else on the front 7. Togiai isn't just occupying space, he is actively disrupting the offensive game plan, and that stone wall description is accurate based on the tape I have watched. The front office, led by Nick Caserio, evidently agrees with this assessment. They didn't wait for the offseason to reward him. I can confirm that the Texans signed Togiai to a 1-year extension worth $2.7 million, which will keep him in Houston through the 2026 season. This is a savvy move. By locking him up now, they avoid him hitting the open market as an unrestricted free agent where his price could drive up given his current breakout performance. Togiai expressed immense gratitude for the deal, telling reporters that it was relieving and that he is excited the organization trusts him. He mentioned that he wants to take it day by day and prove his worth, and frankly, this fine is just a minor speed bump in what has been a career-defining year for him. However, the Texans are not resting on their laurels regarding the defensive line depth. You can't expect Togiai and Sheldon Rankins to play every single snap, especially as we head into the grueling final stretch of the season and prepare for the playoffs. Fatigue is the enemy of execution in the trenches. To address this, my sources confirm the Texans have made strategic roster moves to bolster the rotation. They have brought in former Los Angeles Chargers defensive tackle Naquan Jones and elevated Marlon Davidson from the practice squad. Davidson is an intriguing piece, a former second-round pick by the Falcons who also spent time with the Titans. He brings pedigree and physical upside. The plan is to utilize both Jones and Davidson in the rotation behind Togiai and Rankins. This is critical for the upcoming matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are a team that wants to establish physicality, and having fresh bodies to rotate in during the 3rd and 4th quarters will be the difference between holding a lead and blowing a coverage due to a lack of pass rush. Ultimately, this fine is a footnote. The real story here is the depth and resilience of this Texans defensive front. They have weathered injuries, integrated waiver wire additions, and developed a journeyman into a legitimate starter who has earned the trust of the coaching staff and a multi-million-dollar extension. D'Amico Ryans knows that defense wins championships, and building that stone wall in the middle is step one. Togaya paying a $9,000 fine is frustrating for him personally, but his value to this team is worth far more than that. As they prepare for Las Vegas, expect Togaya to continue playing with that same aggression, perhaps just being a little more careful with his hand placement on the face mask. I want to hear from you guys on this. Do you think Tommy Togaya is the unsung hero of this defense, or is there another under-the-radar player who deserves more credit for this turnaround? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.